In the United States, something historic has begun. For the very first time in more than a decade, new commercial nuclear plant projects, they are actually being built. Not just discussed, not just designed, but physically constructed on the ground. Two projects in two different states, they are sending one big signal. Nuclear energy is back in the conversation. Well, in Wyoming, a project backed by Bill Gates is moving forward through his company TerraPower, which for years existed more as an idea than a reality. Now, construction has officially begun. At the very same time, in Tennessee, Kairos Power has also broken ground on a new plant that aims to supply energy even to the major tech players like Google. The question is, why now? Well, because the world's electricity demand is rising at a pace not seen in years. And there's one major reason, that is artificial intelligence. Data centers, servers, and advanced computing systems, they require massive constant energy. Companies are now looking for power sources that are stable and continuous. Now, solar depends on sunlight, wind depends on weather, but nuclear can run around the clock. However, let me tell you, this is not the old version of nuclear energy. This is the new generation. Faster, smaller, and more efficient. You see, traditional US nuclear plants, most of which were built before 1990, they were large, expensive, very slow. Here many massive projects, they face delays, massive cost overruns, reducing enthusiasm for years. But now, companies like TerraPower and Kairos, they are trying to change that particular image. TerraPower's design uses liquid sodium instead of water for cooling, allowing it to operate more efficiently and at lower pressure. Well, its plant is expected to generate hundreds of megawatts of electricity and even store energy to release more power during the peak demand. On the other hand, you have Kairos. It is using molten salt technology, enabling high temperature and low pressure operations in a more compact form. Well, its plant will supply power to a federal utility system, helping reduce emission from energy-intensive tech operations here. In fact, even companies like Meta Platforms, they are investing in this space, showing how closely big tech futures is tied to energy innovation. But wait, the path is not simple here. Nuclear energy has a history of delays, high cost, and public concern. The last major reactor built in the US took over a decade and costed about $30 billion. And that is why this moment is so significant. Because after years of stagnation, construction has finally restarted, and not just for one project, but two at the same time. And this could be a turning point, not just for nuclear energy though, but for the entire global energy landscape. Because the question, that's no longer whether nuclear power can return. The real question now is whether it can deliver on its promises this time.